Welcome back to Understanding Human Anatomy, Part 2 of our discussion of collateral circulation of the upper limb. Now, I want to start by sketching in the subclavian and axillary arteries, and then turning into the brachial artery. So we have the subclavian artery, draw a line, the axillary artery, and the brachial artery. And from the last video, recall that there's a dorsal scapular artery which goes to run on the medial border of the scapula, like so. And there is a subscapular artery running over to the scapula, and it runs down the lateral border of the scapula. And the subscapular artery anastomoses end to end with the dorsal scapula. So let's add some labels. And recall that the dorsal scapular and subscapular arteries send branches across the posterior surface of the scapula that anastomose somewhere along the scapula. Well, the same thing happens on the anterior surface of the scapula. The dorsal scapular artery and the subscapular artery send branches across like so. increasing the redundancy of the circulation. Now, from the axillary artery, from the first part of the axillary artery, we have the thoracoacromial artery coming off. And the thoracoacromial has several branches. The one I'm interested in is the one going over here to the acromion. In other words, the acromial branch of thoracoacromial. So put the line in for that one. And then this small artery is the acromial branch. There. A pair of arteries branching from axillary are the anterior circumflex humeral and the posterior circumflex humeral, and they anastomose end to end. And let me get some labels in here before I get too carried away. There, and the anterior there, and remember that the posterior circumflex humeral has an ascending branch that comes up to the acromial region. And the ascending branch goes up to the acromion and participates in the anastomosis around the acromion. The posterior circumflex humeral also has a descending branch which I'll draw in here. Skip around to show that it goes behind the anterior circumflex, like so. And this is the descending branch. And I'll draw a line over to it. Off of the brachial artery, we have profunda brachii. And profunda is a large artery that wraps around the posterior side of the humerus and comes out and then descends down along the humerus. So this is profunda brachii. Put a line in. And again, recall that profunda brachii has a deltoid branch that ascends to meet the descending branch from posterior circumflex humeral. So I just drew in the deltoid branch of profunda. So when we look at posterior and anterior circumflex humeral, they provide a collateral route between them in and around the surgical neck of the humerus. The descending branch of posterior circumflex humeral meets the deltoid branch of profunda brachii, providing a collateral route between them, so that blood can get from the axillary through posterior circumflex humeral, descending branch to deltoid branch to profunda brachii to down to the posterior compartment of the arm and back around to the brachial artery. So, again, we have a very rich collateral circulation in and around the shoulder joint. In the next video, we'll look at the collateral routes around the elbow, and we'll look at the collateral routes in the hand that connect the radial and ulnar arteries. Thank you for your attention.